Hello and welcome to Watching Worst Films, the podcast in which we will be watching every Razzie Worst Picture winner. This year it is 1993 and we do not have a decent proposal for you, but a very indecent proposal indeed. My name is Jericho Reed and with me...
I'm Kyle Szymanski.
Let's get straight into this. This was one we selected at random, but going into it, we've both seen it.
Yes, we've both seen it. How long ago when you first watched it?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
Well, 3 years. Recent memory.
All right. And it's a little bit longer for me. It's probably closer to a decade. It's still fairly remembered most of it, but yeah, there was a little bit longer of a gap for me.
So my assumption going into this was that this would be the best film we were going to watch. Mm-hmm. And I'd say, yeah, it pretty much lived up to that entirely.
I agree. It's, again, on paper, looking at 1993, looking at what came out that year, it was a standout for quality as well, something we'll talk about. But no, like, even compared to my memory, I knew it was going to be enjoyable. I knew it was going to be a breeze to watch. Wasn't going to be dragging. I wasn't going to be sitting there twiddling my thumbs. And coming off Diana, I was looking forward to watching it again.
Well, we said right from the start, it's a film. This feels like a film. Diana didn't.
No.
And that was tedious to watch. Oh no, another song. Yep. Here we go. Whereas this singular narrative, not just a film, it was a very well made film.
It really is, yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Absolutely. So if you're wanting to watch along, this one we watched through less than legal means because it's not really available on... It's not on any streaming service. It's probably rent off Amazon or something.
Yeah, I think $3.99 on Amazon is when I had a look. But
so we watched this film. If you're not familiar with Indecent Proposal, it's one of those films kind of like Sophie's Choice, where even if you haven't seen the film, it's such a pop cultural reference that you know the premise.
Yeah, and it's been referenced so often in countless TV shows. Again, like Sophie's Choice, that's a good example. So it's one of those films I think a lot of people will be aware of and, again, they'll know the premise of it and it won't be a surprise to them because it is seeped into the pop culture mentality now. But that does not take away from anything about the film itself.
Just to set it up quickly, Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore play a down-on-their-luck couple. They say there's a recession going on. She works in real estate, or she doesn't work in real estate. No. It's very much described as he's an architect and I do real estate
to support
it. They're struggling financially. Recession hits. They're not doing well. He gets fired and he gets a $5,000 loan or just payment gift from his father. And they set off to Las Vegas to gamble so they can... So what's the deal? It's mortgage for the land, isn't it?
So he's building his dream house that he designed himself.
Yeah.
And construction started on it, but because of the recession, they had to mortgage out the land to the banks, and they've missed payments, and it's the land itself they're wanting, and the construction. And then mounting bills on top of that. Yeah,
because I was a little unclear. I was like, okay, so the mortgage is like, this isn't for the house, because obviously they're living somewhere while building the dream house. And I was trying to work out, I was like, do they own the house that they live in? Or are they renting? And are they behind on rent? Or are they behind on mortgage payments for temp house and dream house? Either way, they're not doing well.
I think the way it came across it was the dream house.
I thought that was,
like either they were renting the land it was on or the construction materials.
Yeah.
Either way, they were intending to pay it off. It all fell apart. Bills mounted up.
And they need $50,000. So they set off to Las Vegas to gamble at $5,000 and turn it into $50,000. And it starts going really well. They make $25,000 playing craps, and as you were saying,
in an hour.
In an hour exactly. He's like,
1 hour.
It's like maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. We're gonna do that tomorrow. And probably should have just stuck at what they were good at. As obviously there wouldn't be a movie if they succeeded. They change to roulette the next day and lose everything. And then they encounter the dashing John Gage, played by Robert Redford, who takes a shine to Demi, and he offers them $1 million for one night with her. And that's the premise of the film.
That's the premise. one paragraph really, and you can just set up everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Rich man offers you $1 million, sleep with your wife. That's
Absolutely.
it. There you go. Tale as old as time. And so I don't know. When I first watched this, I don't think I knew it was a Razzie winner. And I don't know if I'm just I think I'm probably just susceptible to melodramas like this. Maybe I'm a romantic, I don't know. But I really like this. And the idea of commodifying a relationship or putting a price on something intangible, that's something that I found really interesting. So going into this, I liked it a lot and was quite defensive when I saw this was nominated at the Razzies. Watching it again, completely holds up and is not really deserving of the numerous nominations that it's garnered.
And again, I'm slightly different.
This is my favorite film of all time.
So again, I was a blast to watch, and I do actually recommend it as well. Like, I'm getting that off the page right away. However, I do have, especially on a rewatch, there's certain things I was picking up on more, and does not merit its Razzie status at all. Like, I will defend this film, but what would hold it back from being a great film or a great melodrama there's slight flaws in it for me.
I agree. I probably preferred it second time round, but I'd lowered my expectations a lot. I remembered that everything up until the deal was very good. The sort of desperation, the Vegas. I remember being like so frustrated and engaged in that. Like, I remember it pulled me in so much to start with. It then kind of wavers a little bit towards the end. So I don't think it's not my favorite film. I don't think it's a great film. I like it, but it does become a little bit sort of aimless.
Absolutely. So even when we're talking about the initial premise, early on, and again, we'll go into things like production, casting, acting, all this aside, just from the story elements. One thing I really wish was pushed a little bit more was a little bit more tension between the Woody Harrelson and Moore, because they are the most lovey-dovey, perfect couple at the start, showing you it through narration, voiceovers, how they met, and some wigs.
And braces. She has braces.
Yeah, so there was. So when it actually comes to the proposal, when Moore first sees Redford and has that hint of attraction, that little spark.
Yeah,
I wish that was developed a little bit more in Kate rather than coming out of left field. This is something when I first watched it, I misremembered. I remember up until the proposal, I thought was much longer.
Yeah,
and I thought there was a lot more tension and drama between them. I always thought, the way I remembered it was Harrelson was pushing for the deal a lot more, and that was causing, and it was more of a careful what you wish for kind of thing. So I kind of forgot all that like a little bit. So it was nice to see as well. But I wish there was just a little bit more, just arguments or something. Some passion was going away or something. And
I agree, and I think that ties into one of the biggest flaws is Demi Moore's character.
Yeah,
like we were saying. She works in real estate, but she's just kind of a bit of a void.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If she had a little bit more agency of... It's almost portrayed a little bit like Woody Harrelson pushes her away and into the arms of Robert Redford, which I guess that's the film.
Well, I thought that, though. I don't think that comes across enough. I think her by her... And initially when she meets Redford and she, he offers to buy her a dress and I can't be bought. That's where I was like, oh yeah, it's Harrelson that pushes her into it.
Yeah, she's very strong there with initially she's the biggest. The men are almost like negotiating price, and she has the most integrity out of all of them.
And I think, and that comes across, but like the initial proposal.
Yeah.
And Harrelson, you can see him think about it, and $1 million. But when we were to shoot it down, no, go to hell, he agrees with her, and I kind of think Harrelson wouldn't have went along with it.
Well, he regrets it immediately.
I mean,
he runs off and tries to stop the
But it's her. I still think it's her coming across saying, I do it for you, is manipulating as well, and that's not enough. Again, if there was more agency and there was more personality in Moore's character, this could have been done so much stronger and better.
When she's the lead, we'll get into this a little bit with how the characters are nominated or how the actors are nominated in terms of size of the roles. But I'd say she's the lead. She's the person that we're following, because Woody Harrelson's out of it for half of it.
Yeah.
And Robert Redford, obviously, he's only really with us while we're seeing Demi Moore.
Yeah.
So she's a through line that carries us through all
She
of it.
absolutely is.
And so for us to not really know much about her, or for her to be so passive, and yeah, that is part of the film, is she's literally being traded away.
Yeah.
But I think she needs to have more of an internal life of we need to understand her ambitions and
that is the
character.
character. It's not Moore's fault either.
No, she does the best she can with what she's
Absolutely.
given. This is where we might be lacking a female perspective of we maybe should have had someone on as a guest because it is just me and you speaking about. And I don't know. We'll look it up later. I think the screenplay was written by a woman based off a novel written by a man. So if this was written by a woman, it's a little bit disappointing that she's as poorly written as she is.
Yeah, screenplay by Amy Holden Jones.
There you go.
Based on a book by a man, though.
So last week we had the Clinton in the room. I don't know if we need to address. We're just going through. And maybe that's the challenge for this podcast: is every film we need to relate back to the 2016 presidential
Every single one.
election. Because for me, when I first watched this, Robert Redford is very Donald Trump coded in terms of the hair, the tie. He works in real estate. He's like a property mogul. Well, last time we were speaking about the royals, and do you remember the phenomenon? Did you experience it when people were lusting over the royals? Like when I was at university, there were loads of women from my course who were like, "Oh, I want to like grow up and marry like Prince Harry and Prince William. They're so hot. They're such a catch." And I was like,
I personally don't remember that, but I can believe
lucky
it,
you.
yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of that with Donald Trump at one point.
Oh, no,
He represented power.
Absolutely. In early 90s in particular. And you know what? This will come back up when we finally watch Ghosts Can't Do It. But
he's Mr. Big from Sex and the City. He's not attractive, but the power he represents.
Pre-Apprentice, he hadn't, changed his personality to, how we think of him now.
We didn't know anything about him. We didn't...
Trump then... And again, it must be the same year or close to it, was how he was in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Like, he was a charming billionaire.
Yeah, he was
Wayne.
Exactly.
Almost,
he was just this more money than God, rich. Like, he's the American dream of everyone wants to marry like a billionaire.
Yep.
And so that's where, obviously now...
Yeah, looking back.
He has, like, Robert Redford and Donald Trump have diverged completely. But I find it hard to think that wasn't a reference point for the creative team behind the film was, hey, what if Donald Trump comes up to you and wants to sleep with your wife?
Absolutely.
And what's worse is it's a version of Donald Trump that's charming and suave and looks like Robert Redford.
Yep.
Not like an oafish boor who's going to be like, to me, we're going to McDonald's. Order what you like. To me, very...
it's something I obviously at the time, it probably was a decade ago I watched it, so it was pre-2016. And
yeah.
At that time, my perception of Trump was closer to the Home Alone 2, early 90s portrayal.
Twitter hadn't been invented.
It was a more innocent time, so it would have just... I would have seen more, Wall Street, just...
Yeah.
Michael Douglas almost.
Yeah.
That's how I would have first seen it, but now watching it back with that new perspective, new eyes, holy shit, it's Trump, or at least the personification of Trump.
Yeah.
Obviously Redford plays it differently. He has his own twist. It's his unique character, but it is blatantly based on Donald Trump, especially when he's Vegas as well with the casinos. It's all there. It's all there.
He loves making deals. He draws up a contract with Oliver Platt.
Yeah.
We also have, we've got Oliver Platt. We also have Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep.
Who we need to address. Yeah. He's in this film as...
He's credited as a day tripper.
He was like a day player for the film because he's just... It's only really that one shot, isn't it? It could be in and out.
I didn't believe it. I mean, you said it, you pointed, is that Billy Bob? And the voice, it's Billy Bob's voice, but looking at him, I did not think that was Billy Bob Thornton.
He's like a... Not to say that he's a particularly glamorous man now, but it looked like a pre-glow up Billy Bob. You wouldn't believe that man would marry Angelina Jolie. The hair's a bit all over the place. He looks fatter in the face.
He definitely is. He's definitely got carrying a bit more weight. He's also wearing an earring and eyeliner, so it threw me off. I'm used to older Billy Bob. I'm used to post Jolie Billy Bob more than anything. So yeah, I probably would have missed that, and that's quite shameful for me to say. I would not have missed Rip Thorne and his glorious scene-stealing cameo, and I would not have missed. We totally forgot about Billy Connolly's little cameo as well. So
yeah,
there was those three. I totally forgot they were even in this film, and even looking it up, I would have just skipped past it. I would have seen the main casting and worst casting, but yeah, very strange.
It's so weird when there's that sort of like reverse shot with Woody Harrelson standing by Billy Bob Thornton and then Demi Moore and Robert Redford, and you're looking at them being like, wow, these are like 4 massive stars in their own way. And I was like, Billy Bob's almost the one who's doing best. Like Redford's retired, Demi Moore, no, don't look this up. Robert Redford's retired. Robert Redford's retired. He did Old Man and the Gun.
I thought he was dead. So
no, Paul Newman's dead. But Robert Redford, he did Old Man and the Gun, but due to like scheduling, whatever, his last actual film was Avengers Endgame.
Oh Jesus!
It's like Gene Hackman. You know how everyone thinks that Royal Tenenbaums was Gene Hackman's perfect farewell. It wasn't, because he did Welcome to Mooseport afterwards. Robert Redford did Old Man and the Gun, which was this perfect elegiac book stop to his career, and then he's in Avengers Endgame for like 2 seconds. And that's his last released film.
That breaks my heart. There's still time though. There's still time.
So he's retired anyway, but Woody Harrelson's doing great. Demi Moore, she's not in so much. So Billy Bob's kind of... Well, anyway, it's interesting to see. It is
very interesting. Woody's definitely succeeding the most there, though.
Yeah.
In terms of like cultural relevance as well, it's interesting to see Woody maintaining it. Like it's not someone that's had like the Renaissance period of something, or like Billy Bob, getting critically acclaimed later after.
Well, Billy Bob was almost behind the camera. That's how he got recognition with Sling Blade and stuff.
Not his music. Not his.
Oh, how could I forget? We have Seymour Cassel. He's in this.
Yes, he is.
That's the other big one.
Yes.
Who, what do you know him from? Because for me, he's the guy from Flight of the Conchords first.
Just bits and pieces, like
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson's.
He's one of those guys he's a classic character actor if you know his face.
Absolutely, and it stands out. I mean, much like Rip Thorne's as well. It's like instant recognizable, and he's good.
He's good, yeah. He's playing like
small part, but
Redford Smithers, essentially.
Yeah.
Just to single out there, I'd say that's the cast is probably one of the things that I most enjoy about this film. And
it is a small cast. It's it's very very tight. It's
there's no unnecessary characters.
No,
we don't meet Woody Harrelson's dad. We just see
him.
Figure giving money. This originally entered life envisioned as a star vehicle for 2 Hollywood stars, very big in the 90s, a couple. Do you know who they were? I don't. It was originally intended as a star vehicle for Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Oh.
Which would have been interesting. Oh. Because it's kind of like a proto Eyes Wide Shut in that regard.
If you think, that would have been an interesting twist, actually.
It's interesting because it has a completely different energy to this one. I think
can see it.
Nicole Kidman could kind of do the Demi Moore thing, but Tom Cruise... Woody Harrelson has like lovable puppy dog oaf energy.
Yeah, he does.
Where you're just like, oh, you fucking idiot. Like, you've driven your wife away by... Go and get her. Whereas Tom Cruise is manic, insane person energy.
Tom Cruise would have played it very... Yeah, no, but it would have been interesting to see. Like you say, in an Eyes Wide Shut kind of mentality as well. Like, no, Woody was perfect for it as well. So, yeah, that was strange, though. Did you know why they turned it down?
No, it didn't say. And the guy playing the Redford part was Warren Beatty.
Okay.
Which I think he's a good pair with Cruise.
Yeah.
I think Woody Harrelson and Robert Redford contrast each other very well. And I think Warren Beatty and Cruise contrast each other very well. Because they seem very similar, I think. Like, their energy is quite similar. They both have that sort of boyish kind of...
I'm struggling to see Beatty in the role in my head. Like, I can see it, but no, I'm not as interested in that.
I'm not as interested. I agree. This is the best version of the film, but Warren Beatty fascinates me because he's also another piece of my favorite like 90s alternate casting. Do you know about Boogie Nights?
Yes.
How Paul Thomas Anderson approached Warren Beatty wanting him to play Little Jack Horner. And Warren Beatty read the script and was like, no, I want to be Dirk Diggler.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
He's like, what, 50? Being generous, he's 50.
Yeah.
He might be in his 60s. And he was like, yeah, I can play like the young porn ingenue. That's that's me. And I just feel there would have to be a lot of like tiptoeing around egos on the set of Indecent Proposal.
Yeah.
Where
No,
they're
absolutely.
like, no, like Tom Cruise isn't. I almost feel like Warren Beatty would only want to be in it if she stayed with him.
Oh, it would be rewritten. It would be entirely different. Yeah, no, that's interesting though. I actually didn't know that, and it's weird because I can see it in my head. And even playing that casting game with other actors, like I struggle. I was actually struggling, and I could think of worse ones, but I couldn't think of like, oh, that's interesting, or I wonder how that would play, especially in '93 as well.
Yeah, so let's get into this now. So our usual questions: is this Razzie worthy? It's very easy. No, this isn't Razzie worthy in any way,
It's a
shape,
big no
or
for
form.
me. A very big no. Not again compared to what's out in '93, but just standalone as a film, this shouldn't even be nominated. And in any category, really, I don't think it should have been nominated at all.
We'll just blow through the nominations and wins here. So it won Worst Picture. Didn't deserve that at all.
Shit.
Robert Redford was nominated for Worst Actor. I think there's a little bit of category fraud there, where I would say almost both him and Woody Harrelson are supporting, or they're both in the same category, I would say. I don't really see him as the lead. Either way, it's undeserved. And I was saying to you at the time, Robert Redford's walking like a very fine tightrope of, he's charming because he's Robert Redford, there's inherent seediness because of what he's doing, but if you got almost anyone else, you would just like, you wouldn't, when she leaves Woody Harrelson, you wouldn't call the guy who's a creep. But he's Robert Redford, and he manages to be sort of charming and smooth in a way where like, oh no, there is. And I don't know if it's to do with him playing Jay Gatsby in the 70s. This is almost the flip side of that, of he's leaning into the same sort of romanticism and yearning that's at the heart of Great Gatsby here.
Yeah.
So I think he does a really, really good job
I think he
of
does an excellent job.
walking that line of being charming and playing a guy who on paper is a creep, but without being repulsive in the way that, say, Donald Trump would.
Well, that's it. And like any other actor, you can, because he's a billionaire, and you can tell there's a deceitfulness to him. He's something, but you can almost be won over by his charm. Woody Harrelson also, his character gets won over by his charm when they're playing pool.
Yeah, Woody's charmed by him 100%.
Until he drops the Indecent Proposal. Yeah, he has people wrapped around his finger. You see this in other scenes with like everyone just flocking to him and loving to him. Yeah, I believe it because Robert Redford plays it so well. Yeah, like, it's a fucking disgrace he was nominated. Absolute joke.
Then Worst Actress, we have Demi Moore. We've kind of covered that. She doesn't really deserve that.
No, she does not.
Any failings with the character are on paper, not to do with her performance at all.
She delivers everything fine. She emotes fine. She's believable. Like, she's absolutely fine. Like,
Woody Harrelson, he actually won for Worst Supporting Actor, which is unbelievable. Like, I don't know if you're doing the Oscars, where they have their little highlight reel. Mm-hmm. What do you put for Woody Harrelson? Because he's at worst he's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, and like at worst he is fine. And again, anything as well is problems with the character and the script at times, but everything's delivered fine. He's good though. I actually really enjoyed Woody Harrelson in it.
I agree. Like I said, he brings the perfect energy. Anyone else you might lose it a little bit of like, well, ha, you deserve this, or I don't want to see you. Whereas Woody Harrelson, he's dumb and naive enough that you understand how he does it.
Yep.
But he's likable enough that you're rooting for him to fix it.
Absolutely, yeah.
We then have Worst Director, Adrian Lyne.
What?
Not really deserved. This film's directed very well. Like, it leans into cheese a little bit, but
1993.
Exactly.
You're not escaping cheese.
Yeah, nothing that's egregious for the era. Certainly not when we consider body of evidence, as we'll discuss in the second half. But you said early on, there's a lot of artistry to the direction.
Absolutely, like right off the bat as well. Like first opening scenes and stuff. Like there's thought and care into it as well. Yeah. Like he's knows what they're wanting to make. There's talent around them. Cinematography was wonderful at times. There was a lot of lovely shots I enjoyed. I spoke about it quite a lot. It's how much I enjoyed the music. The score is John Barry, who is my beloved. And there are a lot of Bondian themes. And actually just glancing over as well, and it absolutely passed me by when I watched it, but Sheena Easton's in it as the singer.
Yeah.
And I totally glanced over that. I was like, oh, there's a Bond singer in here. And it's done by Bond. And there's a lot of Bond shots and like a lot of like on the boat and just the way the camera movements and the floor.
You're right,
Going through the hotel, Vegas, and the casinos. I was getting a lot of Bondian themes to it. And the score is not a Bond theme, really. Like, it's mostly just incidental piano music, some cheesy songs, but it's good.
The thing it reminded me most of was the sort of the Vesper love theme from Casino Royale, that sort of smooth drifting David Arnold score. But yeah, the music, really good. I really enjoyed the music.
Yep.
As you said, cinematography, there's that scene, I think, where I think it's when Woody has his freak out. He's been watching the fountains, talking to Oliver Platt. Mm-hmm. He's watching the fountains erupt, and he's like, oh my God, what have I done? And he runs. And there's shots where he's leaving focus or he's running into focus. It's just dealt with really well. And then I think is there like a POV shot or something where he's on the helipad and you see him like
shouting after.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It completely sells you on that. Oh no, this is incredibly distressing. You're watching your wife leave in a helicopter with Donald Trump, which you've put her on.
Yeah.
So definitely not deserved for him. It won also worst screenplay, which
it's not perfect. It's the biggest problem with the film.
Yeah. If it had a better screenplay, this maybe could have been a great film.
Yes, that's what holds it back. There's care, there's a lot of attention to detail, there's a lot of things that are so right about the film. And obviously, I don't know how faithful it was to the novel. I assume not at all. But the screenplay just misses things there, which could just hold it back from being, like you say, a great film. So I can understand that one, but I still don't think it should be nominated. And then again, in the scheme of what the Razzies are, and other films at the same year, of its competition, it shouldn't be there.
And then finally, we have final nomination, which is for the worst original song, You Love Me, parenthesis, in All the Right Places, which we listened to a couple moments ago. Mm-hmm. And you identified it, I think, as very Bondian.
It's very Bondian. It is very Sheena Easton. It's very, very for your eyes only. It's got a Roger Moore Roger Moore quality to it. Again, as I said when we listened to it, it's bland. Mm-hmm. It is, like you said, it doesn't go anywhere. But if these are the crimes that get you a Razzie, then fuck off, basically, because a mediocre cheese love song is not the worst part. We looked up, but there's so much worse songs that came out this year, and I'm not taking it, to be honest. It's disagree. Yeah.
And so our second question is the biggest or the smallest change you could make that would fix this film, or the smallest change that would have the biggest impact. And we both, to varying degrees, don't really feel this film needs fixing.
No.
I like it so much. I think the concept's so strong that I would happily see this become like A Star Is Born, where they just remake this like every decade or so. Yeah. You get 3 stars and you remake it. Because I feel like we need an Indecent Proposal for our age. We're going into another recession. We can have, maybe he's not an architect, maybe he's a Twitch streamer, and Elon Musk, or like a new tech bro is like, hey, rather than trying to fix this film, we're going with alternate casting.
Like I said at the time, for the 1993 alternative casting in my head, not a good way, in a much worse way.
Okay, so if we're gonna Razzify Indecent Proposal, and we're gonna be like, okay, here's people that would make the film that Mr. Razzie thinks he's seen.
And what was in my head was Speed. So I seen Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock as their Woody Harrelson Moore. That's what I seen, and it would have been awful. It would have had zero chemistry. And I think they would have fit. Like the casting,
at that time, yeah.
Absolutely. They would have been...
It's a movie that could have got made.
100%.
It just would have been bad.
It would have been really bad.
I would have loved to have seen Keanu's like, whoa, you want to pay me $1 million to sleep with my wife?
And so instead of Redford is probably the one I was struggling because anyone would be worse than Redford.
That's the thing.
So I can say Rob Schneider. I can say anybody, like whoever comes to my head. They're probably not going to be as good as Redford, and would probably play the character in a way that would warrant, even if it was Warren Beatty, like it would warrant more of a Razzie because Redford's so good in it.
Yeah, Warren would, I guess. Have you seen Rules Don't Apply?
I have not.
The Warren Beatty film where he plays Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes is probably not dissimilar to John Gage, and there is that little thing where you can see in Warren Beatty's eyes he does feel like he should be getting the girl at the end of the day. He has that sort of Peter Pan type thing. Rules Don't Apply is probably the closest I've seen to Warren Beatty playing a role like this. Okay. There would be that sort of seediness to him that you don't get from Robert Redford.
So the person I would cast in 93 to Razzify it, because in 1993 he was robbed of a Razzie, I'm going to go with Dennis Hopper.
Oh, true. He would be dreadful.
He would be absolutely terrible in that role. So Dennis Hopper, Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, there's your Razzies. I don't know if it would actually make it worse. This is one thing I was meant to touch on a bit earlier was, in my memory, when I was watching it back, it was the third act I forgot the most about. And in my head, I remembered the twist with Robert Redford being a cruel, mean, heartless man, casting aside
a bastard man.
A bastard man, Charlie. And I remembered, for some reason, that Woody Harrelson got together with one of his students or something, and he was happily married. Like, he had moved on in a way.
Okay.
Like, time had passed, and then Moore tries to go back, and it's like, but you went with Redford, and now I've got a new girl. And I thought it had a much unhappier ending than it did. And I don't know if that would make it so much worse or better.
Yeah, no, I really like the Gatsby thing where he drives her away. I think that contributes a lot to the romanticized part of me that really likes this film. Is I like that they're like, oh no, he does have a heart, and he recognizes that the best thing he can do is. So
that would probably make it worse then. So that's how I Razzie up more. I have a fucking depressing ending where Keanu Reeves moves on. Sandra Bullock gets rejected by Dennis Hopper, and she's left sitting on the beach alone.
Okay.
Yeah, there's my Razzie one. I'm not 2022 version of it. I'm going to put that in your hands because I'm going to stick to the 1993 one.
Okay, 2022, my easiest version to get made is we have Tom Holland and Zendaya are the young couple, and Robert Downey Jr. is Robert Redford.
That's easy.
We do the MCU Indecent Proposal. That's my. If you're listening, Kevin Feige, I know you're looking for a director for the next Spider-Man film. That's my awful version of it. I haven't finished my good version of it. Maybe you can help me out. Okay. So initially, when I said Star is Born, I was like, Bradley Cooper could maybe play the billionaire.
Yeah, I was going to say that, actually. Especially as his age now, would probably starting to link up a little bit better.
He's just on the cusp where he's not quite old enough. Like, he's not quite past his peak, but he's not, like, he is an older man. So I thought about Bradley Cooper. Otherwise, and I think maybe they have that resemblance, river runs through it.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, I would say.
Okay, I could.
Brad Pitt's at the same kind of age.
Yeah. Where
he's older, but he's still a movie star hunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could do he could probably do the earnest Sarah. Like, he could do the Heart of Gold.
See, that's why I was going for the Redford role. Who initially popped in my head was John Hamm.
Oh, yeah, John Hamm would be great. He's getting into the
age of that as well now, so he could.
And we've seen, like, it's almost Don Draper if he has that, like, unhappiness. And yeah, John Hamm would be killer, actually. Just popped into my head as I was going through them. Clooney absolutely could not do it.
No.
Clooney is as a seediness to Clooney.
Yes.
So Adrian Lyne had a film this year which may turn up at the Razzies. I can't remember. Is it called Deep Water? It's the Ben Affleck cuck movie. I could see Ben Affleck getting cast as the Robert Redford.
Oh Christ! Lynn also directed Jacob's Ladder. I love that film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ, I did not know that. And Flashdance as well. It's a very diverse portfolio. Yeah, Deepwater 2022.
So I could see Ben Affleck getting cast, but the reason I bring up Deepwater is for the Demi Moore part. I don't know. It's too easy because everyone says her for everything, but Ana de Armas for the Demi Moore part.
I could see it. I wouldn't want it, but like I could see it. Like, and that's not nothing against her. Like, I would. I don't know. I would struggle. I struggle with them too. I can cast the Redford role. Like, I'm gonna struggle there. I feel if it was made in 2022, 2023, it would probably flipped in some way. Or
I did think about that of Helen Mirren plays. Helen Mirren plays Saoirse Ronan in $1 Million Sleep with Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
There would need to be that twist.
So that's why I was struggling then. But yeah, no, I could see it. She does look the part for it, I guess, as well. Like,
she's kind of similar. Yeah. Okay, we'll throw that one over to you, listeners. If you have any suggestions, get in touch and we will steal them and pitch them to Hollywood.
Absolutely.
That's all for this half. Join us for the next half, in which we'll be discussing all the other awards and winners from the year of 1993.
Can't wait. See you soon, guys.
Hello and welcome back to the second half of the Watching Worst Films podcast, where we're going to be covering all the other awards and nominees. Worst Picture, as we covered, Indecent Proposal won, not deserved. Sliver, have you seen Sliver?
I have not. I thought I had, but I've looked up. I have not seen it.
Okay, next one, Last Action Hero. This is where I get spitting mad. If I spoke about Indecent Proposal, I like a lot, but it's not one of my favorite films. This I almost would say is one of my favorite films, or it was certainly very informative for me becoming the person I am. Last Action Hero. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think that's one of his best films. Yeah. Like, removing Terminator 2, I think that's probably one of his best films, and it's in no way, no version of the world does it deserve a Razzie.
No, I mean, so this is kind of what we're going to always get into when it comes to the Razzies is, the cheap pops, going for those little hits, those clickbaits. I feel like Last Action Hero was only nominated to dunk on it after its less than stellar reception initially. Like, if you'd watched it and if you're basing the Razzies on worst movies, it should never even cross your brain to be in this category.
I don't know, because I wasn't old enough at the time. I didn't go and see it in the cinema as a child, so I have no idea what the reception to it at the time was. Obviously, I know sort of vague box office figures and things.
Yeah, and again, neither was I, but I remember, and I fell into the trap as well of it being advertised as the next in the Schwarzenegger blockbusters, and it's obviously not. It's a very different film to what people were expecting, I think, and that's why it kind of had this negative backlash.
Which, I'm not saying reappraise it for. I'm not saying it's needs reappraisal or anything. Am I saying that 1993 audiences were too dumb to get it? Yes. Am I saying it's a misunderstood masterpiece? Perhaps, because you look at
100%.
Shane Black's screenplay, you look at all of the stuff of like MCU, sort of Deadpool, that sort of self-referential humor. The Last Action Hero does all of that. Like, 100%. It's so smart and so self-referential. Well, maybe smart's the wrong word to use. It's not Charlie Kaufman.
But it's different and it's unique, and it shouldn't even, and I guess it's almost like, I don't want to say they weren't ready for it, but it could have been. Especially when you look at the 1993 year of blockbuster Jurassic Parks and things, and I can understand.
When you would think Mr. Razzie, you would think the vendetta they have is against stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger churning out generic action movies. Yeah. Like, now look at like The Rock.
Yes.
Like, if The Rock made a Last Action Hero now, that would blow people's minds, because it's already kind of subverting his
100%.
Persona.
100%.
There's like the thing, one of my favorite jokes in it is Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hamlet. To be or not to be, not to be. But I think I've identified it. The reason this got nominated, we've spoken about how the Razzies have knives out for certain people.
Yeah.
It's Stallone.
It's Stallone because it's
Stallone drags this down. That one shot where they're like, Stallone is the Terminator in the Last Action Hero universe. They saw Stallone and they saw Red, and they're just like, that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's going on to the next one for me, but dunking on Stallone is something I'm going to get very defensive of it. And this is the problem as well. Stallone has got so much shit, and I'm never going to be like this big defender of him at all times, but at least nominate him for what he does bad with a bad movie. Like, just because Stallone's cameoed in it, just because Stallone's name or smell is around it, it really annoys me. And it could be right there, and that's my favorite scene.
The Schwarzenegger-Stallone paradox is something I think about in almost every movie. And every movie where, how Julia Roberts is in Ocean's 12,
Mm-hmm.
or Julia Roberts' character, they pull that thing where Julia Roberts' character exists in the world of Ocean's 12, but they acknowledge that she looks exactly like Julia Roberts, who also exists. Yeah. That's the Stallone-Schwarzenegger paradox I want every single movie to address.
Yeah.
Because A Star is Born is another big one. Lady Gaga's performing as Ali in Star is Born in a gay bar, and I was like, okay, if this was a real life gay bar, we would be hearing Lady Gaga at some point.
Absolutely.
So I was like, does Lady Gaga exist in this universe? And she looks exactly like Ali, or is someone else filled the void?
Unless you see, for the way I always look at a film, and Indecent Proposal can come around to this, because unless you specifically address real people, I assume real actors and celebrities don't exist. So like Billy Connolly played Billy Connolly in Indecent Proposal.
Oh, you're right.
So that opened up the door of, if Billy Connolly exists, then what he's done exists, and he's here for a reason. That means that means Trump exists in this world, So
can you imagine a Trump cameo in Indecent Proposal?
when you open that door to real life, then you're giving me rules, and I'm going to hold it to all the rules, and that bugs me. So Last Action Hero is different because it's obviously
they tackle it head on.
Yeah, that's right away. But when you do it like you're saying in Ocean's 12.
Yeah, that's just so weird.
Absolutely fuck that. So in Star is Born, to me, Lady Gaga didn't exist, and some other singer-songwriter took her place.
Filled the void. Yes. Paloma Faith, exactly. Or like Jessie J had like a much better career. Katy Perry.
That's it. But I don't even think it's them. I don't think it's the real people. I think it would be, Katy J or something. It's just made up people because this is a fictional world and fictional characters. Okay. I don't think real people exist in it unless you specifically address it. It's President Johnson, it's President Smith. It's like, it's a different world, and I'm happy. But once you break that and open up the doors, like Last Action Hero, you have to abide by the rules. Mm-hmm. And you can't Ocean's 12 it, because that's weird.
That is.
And it's the dangers of always having cameos, people playing themselves. It's always something. It's a big thing for me. And I don't want to be like this big hipster or anything, but I'm going about suspension of disbelief. But when I'm immersed, if you give me the rules, I will abide to them, and I'm enjoying myself. When you break them and I start questioning them in my head and I start thinking about it, like you would say with Stallone, I was like, oh, I wonder what Stallone was like in, like Total Recall, and how was Schwarzenegger, and
did Stallone become governor of California?
Exactly. Like this is great. But yeah, otherwise you're opening doors, and that's something that bugs the hell out of me.
Okay, speaking of things that bug the hell out of you, Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger should not have been nominated. Again, I think Cliffhanger, compared to Last Action Hero, it's not one of my favourite films. Mm. It was a childhood favourite, and I rewatched it semi-recently, during pandemic, actually. And I still enjoyed it. I still really enjoyed it. It's flawed, but it's impressive. It's more grounded than other Stallone films, which a lot of people, I don't think he watched it at all. Mm. Genuinely exciting at times as well. So it really, really bugs me that Cliffhanger's on here, because it's as close to a 1993 renaissance for Stallone. It is actually something with care and thought, and genuinely good production values at times, not throughout. And it gives a shit as well, which is rare for 90s Stallone. Mm. We're well past the good Rockies. We're well past First Blood.
The good Rambo.
Right, we're well past him really giving a shit acting. Because I put my hands up that Stallone becomes the caricature of himself. He gets lazy. He does get lazy.
Maybe that's the key to this podcast is you're a Stallone man and I'm Team Schwarzenegger. Yeah. But yeah, the 90s are rough for it. It's almost embarrassing to compare Schwarzenegger to Stallone at this point.
It really is. They flip because, I mean, what I love about Stallone is the earlier Stallones, you know, he actually genuinely has to act and try and care.
Writing Rocky, that's something like Schwarzenegger could never do.
Oscar winning or nominating or whatever he was. Did he win an Oscar?
He won, yeah. Fairly. It won, and I'm fairly sure he might have won screenplay.
Good.
Okay, then we have Body of Evidence. You haven't seen
I have not seen Body of Evidence.
So that's an even more perplexing nomination in the year when they have wrongly awarded Indecent Proposal. Because if you want to award a melodramatic, erotic thriller, you go for Body of Evidence. Body of Evidence is horrific. It is awful. Like, the performances are bad. The sex scenes are like so poorly directed, and there's like a ton of them. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's The Room level. Like, there are close-ups of Willem Dafoe's ass. Like, they cut to them like Willem Dafoe and Madonna having sex, and then close-up of his ass. Cut to, like, it seems like it would be an inspiration for The Room.
Yeah.
It's awful. Like, I like, it's really like difficult to watch. There's nothing good about it.
Would it be of 1993 off the top of your head? Would that be your winner?
Yeah. Unless you're gonna pull something out on me like Troll 2 was out in 93, which
so again, theatrical releases. I think the worst film I've seen from 1993 was the Beverly Hillbillies remake, which with Jim Barney or whatever it is, which I remember watching growing up a lot, and I had a DVD. I think my dad had it on DVD or something. And it is fucking shocking.
On DVD.
Yeah, like, no, he liked it so much that he rebought it.
I thought it was going to be VHS, like these things weren't as...
And my second place would have probably been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which is...
Is that the one where they go to Japan?
Yeah, it's fucking...
like that.
Okay, well...
I haven't seen it since I was 10, but I had the action figures. I've got a bit of a soft spot.
So, so off memory, I mean, Weekend at Bernie's 2, which was nominated for a Stinker Award, is awful, but I haven't seen it since childhood, so I can't count it, but I remember the Beverly Hillbillies. I remember it well, and I fucking hate that movie. Everything else, though, like, there's a lot. Coneheads is another I would nominate. I don't think it would win, but it should have been nominated. I think the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I love, should have been nominated because it's a fucking disaster. Mm-hmm. It should have been nominated. These are the films that are misses, that are genuinely bad, that yes, they've got enjoyable elements and stuff in them, but they are shocking fucking movies. But I haven't seen Body Evidence. My other winner, as we'll talk about, is Boxing Helena. Or Helena, sorry. That's a fucking shit film, but we'll get on to that.
We'll come on to that. Worst actor. Okay, I'm going to need to take a couple breaths here and calm down. Arnold Schwarzenegger at Last Action Hero. We've covered it. He doesn't deserve it. I just think that's a very interesting, clever performance for an action hero to do, to play with their entire self-image like that. And you would 100% not get The Rock doing that. Stallone wouldn't do something like that. Even Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool has kind of based his entire persona
his
off
whole
that
persona is trying to be that
snarky
meta-ness. So this has always been his thing.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to.
He doesn't
do
play
that.
It with the sincerity though that Schwarzenegger can.
No, 100%. Robert Redford in Decent Proposal.
No.
Willem Dafoe in Body of Evidence. Okay, Madonna apparently handpicked Willem Dafoe for that. It's a tough one. I wouldn't say he's necessarily Razzie worthy of He Doesn't Stink. It's just Willem Dafoe's one of those actors who it's almost impossible to imagine him being bad.
Yeah.
This is probably the closest I've seen. So in that regard, he's maybe deserving. In the film, he's married to Julianne Moore. So to give you a quick summary, Madonna is arrested for fucking a man to death.
Oh.
And Willem Dafoe is her lawyer. And unsurprisingly, for a 90s erotic thriller, he gets in too deep and becomes personally engaged with her. And there's a sex scene where she handcuffs him to the bed and pours wax all over him. And then he's in the shower the next day trying to hide it from his wife, who's Julianne Moore.
Okay.
And their relationship, I was an hour and a half into the film and I realized, oh, hang on, wait, they're married. Because they're so awkward with each other and they have a kid. I was like, oh, this is someone that he's just sort of casually seeing, or one of them's a single parent and they're just sort of dating but they're a couple who's meant to be married for a decade and they have no sort of relationship, comfort, familiarity. They just do not like two amazing actors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they do not sell you that they are in a long-term relationship at all. So for that alone, I would say he's probably worthy of a nomination.
Cool.
William Baldwin in Sliver.
No idea. I thought I'd seen it, did not see it. So
Burt Reynolds in Cop and a Half.
which again I have not seen, so I can't.
Okay.
My nomination for worst actor would have probably been Dennis Hopper in the Super Mario Brothers movie as Bowser.
I thought you were going to say Dennis Hopper in My Imaginary Indecent Proposal.
Well, yeah, he gets 2 nominations off the top of my head. Yeah, and again, I like that movie, but it's a bad performance, so it deserves to be nominated, or it's my winner.
It's a surprising absence.
I thought that would have been a slam dunk. I thought it would have swept the Razzies this year. Without looking at the winners and nominations, just whatever year that came out, I assumed because of its size and failure, commercially and critically, and just everyone hating it, that it was going to sweep it.
This is where we can look at the narratives, the narrative of the Razzies and how it's evolved over time, and you get the sense that they maybe just hadn't found their flow with, video game movies are going to become a thing, or like terrible adaptations are going to become a thing. Because in any other year, that would have been earmarked. It would be like they would have saved slots.
If Stallone was in it, it would have been there, you know. Fucking Razzies.
Worst actress, Sharon Stone in Sliver, not seen. Demi Moore in Indecent Proposal, undeserved. Janet Jackson in Poetic Justice as Justice.
Oh,
you seen
poetic? That? No, I haven't. I've heard about it, but I've not seen it.
Melanie Griffith in Born Yesterday. I feel like I know the concept of that film, but I could be wrong. And then Madonna in Body of Evidence. Worthy winner. She's just so lifeless in that film. Like it's one of those like femme fatale things of she leads a lawyer, like she fucks a man to death, and then she like seduces this lawyer to the extent that he destroys his life. You feel like you know what that performance has to be.
Absolutely.
It's none of that.
Okay.
Like there's no sex appeal or sensuality or anything to it. It's just she's like a Barbie doll. She's just like a void.
I'm not even gonna nominate another worst actor. I'm gonna give you that because I believe it, and much like the Razzies, you can nominate without watching them. So
I've only seen Madonna in A League of Their Own and Die Another Day. So prior to this, I'd seen probably a collective 10-minute screen time of Madonna. And so when everyone always harps on about her being terrible, I'd never fully got it. And then watching...
You never seen Evita?
No.
Oh, okay.
I watched Body of Evidence and I was like, yeah, I understand.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that.
Worst supporting actor. Here we go. Keanu Reeves in Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, my boy gets a shout out. And we're supporting actress. Well, sorry to jump ahead, but it's all coming together. You know? I'm gonna meme this into existence.
Okay, Much Ado About Nothing. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I have seen it. I think he's an easy target in that. Again, it's Keanu Reeves doing Shakespeare and doing a period piece with an English accent,
which is always going to be the problem. He should have learned this lesson by now as well.
Yeah, is this post Dracula?
91's Dracula, I believe.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, so it's had 2 years.
He's returning to touch the stove once again. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit revisionist. Maybe because he's found his niche of what he's good at now. I'm trying to be overprotective, but in reality, it's probably a Razzie-worthy performance.
That's fine, because Keanu, much like I'm saying with Stallone, there's a time and a place. You can put in performances, you can be very fitting for things, but period pieces with English accents is not that. And it never will be his, and that's okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
You know, not all actors have to be the most versatile. But when you put in a stinker or a terrible performance, you deserve it, yeah.
Chris O'Donnell in The Three Musketeers as D'Artagnan.
No.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. I like The Three Musketeers.
I actually think I might have seen that when I was a kid on VHS or something. I have no memory.
I do know. I actually... No, he doesn't deserve it. I really like The Three Musketeers and what's the DiCaprio one? The Man in the Iron Mask?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is a spiritual sequel, but it's whatever.
When we had that, French literature cinematic universe going on in the 90s.
Yeah, there was. It was a bit of a face. He's not great, but I don't think it's a Razzie performance. Then I could pull up anyone. I'm gonna go with anyone from RoboCop 3, but I fucking hate that movie. But no, I don't think he should have been here.
I imagine you'll say the same thing for John Lithgow in Cliffhanger.
Yes, yeah. Oh no, 100%. And again, Lithgow, I'm a big fan.
He's Willem Dafoe, I assume, he's a great actor who there's probably quite a high floor to how bad John Lithgow can be.
And again, it's not the greatest performance of his career. I mean, he'll admit that. It's cheesy.
That's Daddy's Home.
Yes. But he's here because it's Cliffhanger, and they had put in another Cliffhanger nomination, so it could rack up the nominees.
Tom Berenger in Sliver, nothing to say there, and Woody Harrelson in Decent Proposal, which we've already covered. Worst supporting actress, we have Janine Turner in Cliffhanger.
No! Again, she's not... No, like... This is where I'm like... Bad performance. Possibly. Worst performance. No.
It's just like the It Follows monster. Anyone who's had contact with Sylvester Stallone gets contaminated with the Razzie disease.
Absolutely.
Like, they're going to find you and they're going to nominate you for a Razzie, even if you've looked at him in the street. Colleen Camp in Sliver, no opinion. Sandra Bullock in Demolition Man, another victim of the Stallone virus.
Exactly, it all comes round.
Because how on earth do you look at, particularly when there are no other nominations for Demolition Man?
Which surprises me. Like, and I love Demolition Man as well, but again, context of the Razzies.
You see this with the Oscars sometimes, is they pick one film and they'll give it like a perplexing nomination, and it's hard to be, like, beyond films which have like a great performance and an otherwise kind of mediocre biopic. They're always biopics. But you look at things and you're like, hang on, wait, how can this be worthy of Best Director, but nothing else?
Exactly.
And it's a little bit like that of, I can see if they really had a vendetta against Demolition Man, I think that's a worse film than Last Action Hero. So I don't agree with it, but I can understand it if they just have a vendetta against Demolition Man. But they don't.
But they don't.
It's only her. And she's not bad.
She's not bad. She fits the role perfectly for what is needed to be. Like, not at all.
It's
like,
a great audition for Indecent Proposal.
Exactly. It shouldn't be there. I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is a year of semi-renaissance after, like, Stop or My Mum Will Shoot and all the real... Like, we're miles away from Cobra, like, we're one of the low points for, like, Stallone's. And so we're miles away from Rocky 5, which is just garbage. Like, this is a year with 2 good Stallone films for me, and it really fucking gets to me why they're nominated. Like, keep them away. And Sandra doesn't deserve it. She deserves it for My Indecent Proposal, but she does not deserve it for this.
Faye Dunaway in The Temp, that's the winner.
Oh.
You've seen The Temp?
I have not seen The Temp. You?
No.
Okay. Move on.
Worst director, Philip Noyce for Sliver.
Nope.
John McTiernan for The Last Action Hero. Again, John McTiernan knows how to make an action
100%.
movie.
And he knows how to make a damn fucking beloved classics that'll last forever.
Exactly. So, no. Like, no way is that. Of all the things that are deserved, absolutely not. Adrian Lynn for Indecent Proposal. Again, no.
No, not at all.
Uli Edel for Body of Evidence. Yeah, that would certainly be a worthy winner. I haven't seen the actual winner, which is Jennifer Lynch for Boxing Helena.
Which I understand. I mean, I do understand the nomination. I don't know if it's a winner for Worst Director, because all the faults with the film, and it's filled with faults, it's a bad film. I don't think directly lie on her, but the inexperience does show through a lot. There is a lot of poor performances, which I can only put down to the director. So though maybe it's not my personal pick for Worst Director, I completely understand why it would be nominated. It's kind of going into your thing, though, what you were saying is, why are the other nominations?
Yeah.
Like, worst screenplay, it should have won by a mile. Worst screenplay. It should be, it's got Sherilyn Fenn's terrible in it. Like, there's so much in it as well that is terrible, but it doesn't all lie at her feet, I think. And I think maybe it does, because I remember watching it, and there's an element of maybe like people are too safe around her. The crew and stuff, probably because of David, and or maybe coddling her a little bit, and then probably a lot of like children at like directors will experience that. But I understand it, and it's deserved, and I'm not complaining. I'm not cliffhangering it and getting angry at it. It does deserve it.
She's never really worked again after that.
That's her only film, I think.
Where would you rank her alongside other children of directors? So your Max Landis's, your I forget what Ridley Scott's children are called. Luke and There's another one.
Well,
Max,
going back,
maybe.
we're getting back. Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah. I think it's hard to tell.
Mm.
I think she needed to do more
Yeah.
to express. And I know she was a good writer as well, because she wrote for Twin Peaks The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer,
really?
the
Okay.
novel and stuff was written by her, and it's great. So I know she's very talented and she does artistry and stuff. Maybe direction is not for her though. Like it's a hard one to tell.
It's good to hear you say that, because you're the exact type of person who I wouldn't be surprised if you had some insane contrarian like, oh, Jennifer Lynch is the best director in the Lynch family.
I mean, I love David, so compared to Max Landis, she's a genius. And also, like, I think that rightful as well, negative reception. Like, again, it's her June, like, it's her, she had to take it all on, and it probably might have just been too much as well. I don't want to do more films, but it's not all her fault. She didn't write it, so
Yeah.
flash or forward, she wrote it, and cut that.
Worst screenplay: Sliver by Joe Esterhaas, Last Action Hero by Shane Black and David Arnott. Again, Shane Black.
Good joke.
So the only bad Shane Black movie I've seen is Predator. You haven't
I
seen
have seen Predator.
The Autism
I've
Predator.
now seen Autism Predator. Fucking dreadful, yeah.
Apparently there was studio interference on that.
How much
And
though?
no, apparently they had a really good. So a lot of people have been speaking about the fail son angle for the new Predator film. Of are these just the Eric Trumps that come to our world and put on like cloaking devices to like shoot a snake or whatever? So apparently Shane Black's film was gonna deal with that more of like the fuck up Predator.
I personally still don't want to see that.
Okay,
I would go
fair
see
enough.
another film. I would say if this was something to do not with Predator and it wasn't in the franchise, yes, give me that Shane Black. Give me that. Give me an original concept and idea. But when you are making a sequel in the Predator universe, you've got to at least make a Predator film.
You're more of a purist than me. I always want to see things subverted.
No, well, I do want to see some subversion. I want to see some changes, but it's such a simple concept, It's got rules and established things. So when you fuck with it too much, you end up with Predator. Like, I enjoyed Predators and I enjoyed Predator 2, so maybe I'm just completely wrong, but subvert me by putting me in a concrete jungle, That's what I want. That's it. That's what I really want. And again, if it was, it's where I understand that, but yeah, take it and put it in something different, and I'm all up for it. Just take the idea you had, and then it's not the Predator, it's the Avenger or something, or some crap name, and yeah, otherwise just give me a fresh spin on it. And again, I don't want this. I don't watch a James Bond film to have it completely changed and inverted. That's how I end up with Last Jedi.
James Bond can't be a woman. He can't be Idris Elba. Last Jedi. Why is Rey so good with the Force? A woman can't be that good with the Force. Then we have Cliffhanger, screenplay by Michael France and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
probably covered that.
Yeah.
Body of Evidence, written by Brad Merman. The screenplay for Body of Evidence is probably one of the best things about it in terms of if it had a different director, if it had a different cast, it could have been okay. Indecent Proposal by Amy Holden Jones. No. Bringing us on to Worst New Star, Austin O'Brien in Last Action Hero. So we've touched on this before. The Razzies, they are just negative, but sometimes they feel like they're punching down, and making a category for Worst New Star where you're nominating a bunch of kids feels like a little bit cruel to me. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know kids are bad. We know kids can be annoying because, I don't know, acting's difficult when there are plenty of grown-ups who
100%.
pursue it for their entire life and are awful.
Yeah.
When a kid does something for the first time. And that lies with the director.
It does,
the director's not working with them. It's horrible for a kid to then see their name attached to... It's the Jake Lloyd
think that's
thing
just
of
what it
just
is.
stop bullying children for you not liking the movie they're in. Then we have Norman D. Golden 2 in Cop and a Half.
No idea.
Mason Gamble in Dennis the Menace.
Is he Dennis?
I'm assuming he's Dennis.
I've seen that film. That film I've seen a lot. I used to rent a lot as a kid. I know my nephews have watched it and like it as well. Because the confusion with the UK to US Dennis the Menace. I remember renting it and going like, fucking hell, where's Gnasher? Like, films are weird. But this was also the same year as Super Mario Brothers. So I just was always like, the adaptations go wildly different. Like, it's just name only. So I for years, genuinely believed that this was Beano, Dennis the Menace, done in an American way.
I had the same thing.
But was it the good?
Yeah, Mason Gamble is an American marine biologist and former actor. He's probably a former actor because you drove him out of the industry,
100%.
Razzies. But it says here that he was a titular Dennis, but he was also Dirk Calloway in Rushmore.
Oh.
He's brilliant in
Yeah.
Rushmore. So
Okay, yeah.
no. Fuck you, Razzies. He's not the worst new star. Even if he's not good in Dennis, which I haven't seen, just need a little time.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
He's fine. Like, you can't just nominate every kid from every movie. Like,
Now this I'm more receptive to. Roberto Benigni in Son of the Pink Panther.
Okay.
Where's the chronology for this? Is this 1993? Is this before Life is Beautiful? I thought Life is Beautiful was what made him a star.
I'm not too sure.
1997.
So yeah, 4 years away.
Yeah.
So this would be, again, I've not seen Son of the Pink Panther. It's one of the few.
Yeah.
I think I've seen every Pink Panther film except that one, The Curse, the one before it, and the second Steve Martin one. So every other one I've seen, but I can't judge. I can't judge it as a film.
Roberto Benigni is at the very least a grown man and who's criticised for a lot of things, so at least he can take it. And I don't object to his nomination on principle.
Yes.
Janet Jackson in Poetic Justice as Justice is the winner.
Okay. And I, again, can't comment on it, but like even on this category should be like worst, like that crossover, like the Madonnas, your Janet Jacksons, these singers and entertainers that step over into it, and you're like, holy shit, you're bad. Like, you should step back into what you were in.
Yeah, star kind of implies that it's a marketing thing of you're trying to make someone a phenomenon.
Yeah, a crossover, yeah.
Which seems a lot more fair. Or when you get people like, who's the guy from Avatar and Terminator Salvation? You know, the guy.
My heart.
Yeah. He's so forgettable.
Jesus,
I've forgotten his name.
Yeah.
Jake, Luke, Sam Worthington. Sam Worthington, Cara Delevingne. You know those people who just emerge kind of fully formed and they're just on the covers of magazines and you're like, why am I seeing this person everywhere?
Yeah.
Why are they trying to make this a thing? Or like when Kate Upton, when she was in a bunch of
But
movies.
then she would still apply in that worst
She's
crossover.
the crossover.
Yeah, worst crossover star. That's what, give me that. And I'm totally, put all your Madonnas, your any entertainer, anyone that is verified with a tick already, that is...
Yeah, someone who emerges fully formed as a star and is a millionaire, they're not going to suffer from this in the way that a child taking on their first
100%.
role ever is.
That's bullshit.
And then we have Worst Original Song, You Love Me in All the Right Places from Indecent Proposal, music by John Barry, lyrics by Lisa Stansfield, Ian Devaney, and Andy Morris. And then we have Big Gun from Last Action Hero by AC/DC.
Strong disagree for you?
I'm not an AC/DC fan, but it's just an AC/DC song. If you're going to nominate this, you're nominating... Yeah, it suits the movie.
That's the point. Like, when it's a decent... Again, I'm not a big AC/DC fan in the slightest, but it's right away not an offensive song. Like, it's not this...
It's called Big Gun. It's for a Schwarzenegger movie. It knows what it's doing. It's not trying to
100%.
pretend to be. Adam's Family Whoomp is the winner.
Fucking
Adam's
disgrace.
Family Values.
And I'm going because I've been singing it all day now. It's been stuck in my head. No. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, it's shit. Yes, everything. But as we looked up, I'm giving the real winner is Conehead Love.
Don't want to hold my phone alone.
It's the worst. It is absolutely. It's not a song. It's unlistenable. It charted. The soundtrack charted, and that infuriates me. Like, no. A cheesy pop rap song from a kid, like a family movie at the credits doesn't count to me. Like, no. No. I'm going to die on this Adam's Family hill here. Yeah, no, it's not. Super Mario, that song as well by whoever. This new single is much worse. It's much cheesier, again, with context for what it is and how easy it would be just to put in a video game song, you know, the Mario theme with lyrics over it or something. Like, that's worse because it doesn't fit. Adam's Family at least fits. Yeah, no.
Well, thank you for listening. That concludes this episode of Watching Worst Films. Join us next week when we will be journeying off to 1981, and the film is Mommy Dearest.
Oh, fuck. No, I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it. Are you looking forward to it?
I don't know enough about it to dread it. I should be more worried based on how much fear it instills in you.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's unknown, so I don't fear it.
Well, that's
in the
okay.
way I
You've got
fear a lot
this,
of them.
and then I'm looking forward to this as well because the dynamic of walking completely blind into something.
Yeah.
There's films throughout the Razzie winners that I've never heard of. Swept Away, or was it?
Yeah, the Guy Ritchie Madonna.
Totally forgot
Yeah.
about it. Don't know anything about anything. Like, it's just blind to me. There's a few from the 90s and 80s. Completely no idea. Don't know what to expect. But I do know what to expect, and it's filling me with dread. And I'm not looking forward to it. It could be wrong. It could be a masterpiece. It could be absolutely by the second Razzie Worst Picture winner. So they could already be completely off, and
It could be your new favourite film.
could absolutely. But I'm not excited.
Well, tune in next week for that. And in the meantime, you can get in touch with us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com and on Twitter at watchingworst. If you have any feedback, any suggestions for future episodes, specials, or if you just want to send us your casting for Indecent Proposal, we'd love to hear from you.
And I want to hear that 1993 one. I want to hear a modern day as well. I want to see how would you do it in both time periods? It's interesting to me.
Yeah, does the billionaire change? Because now the most horrifying thing, maybe even worse than Donald Trump stealing your wife,
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
absolutely. And it's much more of a possibility. You know, I offer you one Bitcoin for one night. You
I
know?
offer you one Dogecoin to sleep with your wife. And then he flies her off and makes her watch him perform on SNL.
Oh God.
Well, on that horrifying image, we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.